Joining me now to take a closer look at today's markets action is Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities. Faheema, good to chat to you on the close this evening. What happened with our markets today? Were we just tracking Asia and Europe because they all shared down at the close?
Good evening, Ray. Thanks for having me. Yes, I think it's exactly that. We really did see the JSE seem to follow European, UK, and Asian markets lower today. I think the weakness there was largely just driven by some valuation concerns in US tech, also some profit taking. But we did see the biggest sell-off locally coming from our resource sector. Industrials and financials were also down, but a lot of the weakness came from our platinum counters, so Northam and Valterra in particular were down more than 5%, and then gold stocks were also weaker today. So I think those stocks in particular, just following the gold and PGM metal price lower, and just a case of more profit taking.
Yeah, the love story of gold came to a bit of an end today, or maybe a halt. I should be polite about it, I suppose. Going down below that $4,000 level. What's driving that?
Yes, we see quite a big pullback in gold after those record highs. And I think there's really a couple of factors driving that. The trade wars is obviously the big one. And it's become less of a concern now, I think, now that we've seen Trump come to an agreement with several countries, and China being one of the bigger ones. So there is less demand, I would say, now for gold from a safe haven perspective due to those agreements. And then the other big factor that is having an impact, I would say, is the dollar strength that we're seeing. So we are seeing the dollar strengthen due to the trade agreements, but also uncertainties about future rate cuts in the US in December. So a stronger dollar obviously makes gold a bit more expensive. And higher rates also works against the gold price because it does not yield any interest. So I think those are the main factors.
Yeah, and of course oil as well, also coming down a little bit as well. OPEC countries have been meeting. What are they saying? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so it looks like OPEC Plus has now decided to actually pause output hikes from the first quarter of next year. And that seems to be sending a signal to the market that it is potentially now in an oversupply, given that OPEC Plus has been increasing the output since April of this year. But I think the point to bear in mind, though, is there are still sanctions on Russian oil. So that could still have an impact on the oil price in the medium term and put some further upward pressure on that.
Yeah, well, I hope for us we're going to see our fuel prices come down. Those Trump tariffs, I just want to ask you about them. Those Trump tariffs, are they as severe as what's been touted? You have him talking about it. You've had him now going to speak to China. They seem to have some sort of truce there at the moment. What's your take?
Yes, unfortunately, I think it's having quite a significant impact. And we've seen SA logistics company Santova talk about it in one of the reports now, saying that all exports to the US from South Africa have actually been stopped because of this 30% tariff. And the biggest impacts are being seen in the agricultural sector, in mining, also in manufacturing. And the citrus industry in particular has been hit very hard by the tariffs. So I think it is having quite a big impact on the local economy, unfortunately. Santova also said that the overall shipping rates have declined from South Africa, and they're now expecting revenue growth from the South African region to be just 2%. So yeah, it is unfortunately having quite a big impact already.
Yeah. Right, let's look at some of the movers and shakers. Of course, Pepkor making news. That's been one of the big ones, I suppose.
Yeah, so they seem to have finalized that acquisition of retailability brands. So that includes Legit, Swagger, Boardmans, and this is just basically part of its plan to really expand its portfolio and scale. So this will add about 470 stores to its store base, and it's really looking to increase its presence and market share in the adult apparel market, in women's wear in particular, through that Legit brand. Already it has quite a big presence in baby and school wear, so they are trying to diversify there. But we didn't see much of a reaction from the market. In fact, the share price was a bit weaker. I think this is just because SA retail in general is still struggling, and I think it's probably going to take some time for us to see recovery there.
Yeah. Then MTN's Rwanda results. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that actually follows the positive results we saw from MTN Nigeria recently. We saw the resumption of the dividend there. So MTN Rwanda is back to profitability, and that's been driven by the fintech segment and pretty good cost controls. The total subscriber base has actually now surpassed the 8 million mark, so it's quite a significant milestone for the business. The Rwanda economy has been quite strong also. We're seeing GDP growth there of 7.2% year on year, so I think that's also obviously having a big impact. But yeah, I did look at the share price. It was a bit weak on the day of MTN Group. I think there's just been a case there of profit-taking, seeing that the share price was up almost 83% year to date.
Yeah, it's been quite something. Faheema, thank you very much. Good to have you on the close this evening. We'll chat to you again really soon. Thank you. That was Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities, and with all the latest market news.